This episode of the Citadel Cafe is brought to you by listeners like you. Visit patreon.com/the Citadel Cafe to find out how you can become a patron and help make this show possible. This is the Citadel Cafe, episode number 434 for Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022. My name is Joel Duggan, and the Citadel Cafe is where my friends and I hang out to talk about the geeky stuff that we're into. Joining me this week, Steven is back. That's Steven with a PH, and you can find him at StevenESC on all the social media that matters, including Twitch. Good day, sir.
Good day to you.
I was lurking in your last Twitch stream, or maybe not your last, but the last one that I saw on February 22nd, 2022.
The Tuesday stream.
Yeah, the Tuesday stream. And I have to say that it was entertaining, to say the least. For folks that don't know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but because it was like 02/02/2022 for the date, yes. and you already have like a Tuesday thing that you do, you had set a channel point redemption for 2 minutes and 22 seconds where you did a silly voice essentially on the stream.
Right.
Yeah. At first I was just like, okay, this is cute. This is funny, you know, like, and the 2 minutes is over pretty fast. Especially, I find it especially funny when you're still talking about what you're talking about. Like it's, you know, you're talking about building something in Minecraft as you, and then you switched over to this character. Igmund, I think was the name.
Igmund, yeah.
Yeah. And so you do this silly voice, but you continue to talk about precisely what you're talking about, but everything changed. Like, it's not just that you're talking silly, but saying the exact same thing. Phrasing is different, delivery is different, timing is different. The thought process is different. And I was like, wow, that's a lot. And then it would end, and I could feel a slight sigh of relief from you. And then like 2 minutes later, whatever the cooldown was, somebody else in chat would redeem it. And so it was this constant back and forth. I'm just like, okay. I mean, I knew I was in for it. So I kicked back and I was working on some stuff on my own on the server and just listening to you. But I don't remember exactly what you said. And some of it has to be like, you don't remember either because it's so off the cuff, right? You're streaming live. Yeah. You're reacting to stuff that's happening either in a video game or in chat. But like, I kid you not, man, I was laughing out loud here in the studio going like, what did he just say? Like, and it's not like it was any like one-liner joke. It's more about like the comedic timing of the delivery.
Yeah, it's Igmund's, he's a usual kind of quote unquote character that I have on my streams where the usual channel point redemption is 2,000 points. And so for this special Tuesday where all of the twos showed up in the date on a Tuesday, I just dropped the price from 2,000 down to 222. That was Alistair's suggestion, actually. It was a good one. And then I decided to make the time instead of 2 minutes. It's going to be 2 minutes and 22 seconds. And then I gave it the overall a 5 minute cooldown. So by the time I finished, it would have been roughly a 2 minute and 22 second delay between the next time somebody could do it. I tried to make it as two themed as possible. And it's, for what it's worth, folks, I don't know how it started, but for Igmund, there's only Tuesday. For him, it's like, that's how he says today. So it's like, it's Tuesday. And so it's like, it's today. And then he just, so even if somebody says Wednesday, Igmund will basically go, I don't know what you're talking about. It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
So that I did a special stream on Tuesday just for that. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's, people seem to get a kick out of him and like almost as much of a kick out of him as I do. So I'm grateful. And then I was tired afterwards.
Oh yeah, doing something like that for as long as a stream would be focus heavy, I would think. And I, like I said, I did enjoy like when you would run out of things to say as a streamer, but also you're Igmund for the time being. So you also have to play like, okay, well, how does this go with Igmund when he runs out of things to say? And I think that's where like the the pause and the timing and the mumbling kind of came in and caught me off guard and made me laugh because it reminded me of characters like the Italian guy. I don't remember his name from Disney's Atlantis. Do you remember that
Oh,
guy?
yeah.
He was the explosives
Yeah.
expert. And he was always talking about like, I got nitroglycerin, I got TNT, I got paper clips, big one. Like he has
A little random.
that pause between random stuff, and it just reminded me. No, and he does. I mean, obviously the character actor in Atlantis has a bit of an accent as well. But it was a lot of fun.
Cool. Thank you very much.
A lot of fun, and you don't do that. You don't do that all the time, though, right? Like that's
With Igmund, you mean?
yeah.
No, Igmund he's there all the time. He's the redemption's called Tuesday's Child, and so for 2,000 points, this audio.
Oh, 2,000.
Yeah, this
Okay,
audio thing kicks in and goes, "It's Tuesday," and then I just go, "Oh my goodness," and just kind of just
Right.
whatever comes. And basically with Igmund, everything whatever falls out of my mouth. I don't swear, but I don't have a filter. So if he says something stupid like, "Oh, that looks silly on your face," like that's what comes out, and so I don't.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but he's there all the time.
Right on. Do you know, out of curiosity, like if you have a younger audience on Twitch, or is it just a bunch of people that all just kind of enjoy that?
I think it's a good range. I used to have, I think, I had a good number of younger followers before kids went back to school. And so there were a couple that started to kind of hint at age, and Cosmic is in there and like, no, cool that you want to share, but with this, we keep this, nice and safe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Cosmic is one of the moderators for all the Citadel folk on Twitch and has her own Twitch channel.
And an epic moderator
Yes,
at
Cosmic _dancer on Twitch as well. So got to give her a shout out when we can. But yeah, I know it's the younger crowd I think has sort of fallen off now that they've gone back to school and they're less in front of the computer all the time.
Mm.
But there's still a couple of them that pop in and just go, "Hey, how's it going? It's been a while," and they want to know what I've been up to and stuff. So it's some that I'm pretty sure are in like the 13 to 14-year-old range, but they come back to check and see what I'm working on every once in a while, which is kind of neat.
The only time I can usually tell how old someone is in my chat, which is same rules. We don't do the whole age thing. Just it's safe
for sure.
internet practices, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's mostly because Minecraft does attract a younger audience sometimes. But I think because I'm pretty chill, I tend to get slightly older people. But usually it's the type of questions or the constant demand for attention. Like if someone's there and trying to be the center of attention in your Twitch chat, even though they're being perfectly nice, you can kind of go like, oh, okay, you're probably on the younger side, which is good to realize as a streamer, because there are some people that could be quite hard on someone like that, like, calling them out on it, like, what are you doing? And I'm just like, it's fine. I mean, I'll respond to stuff that makes sense, but if it's just constant, I'm just like, look, I don't have time to read this personal correspondence with you and stream at the same time. And for anybody that is wondering, the channel points on Twitch, those are free points that you accumulate by watching a streamer, and you can redeem them for a bunch of things. I think the only thing that I've got mine are you can redeem them for using an emote for the day, or highlighting a message, which my moderators use quite often because they've got a ton of points because they're just always in chat moderating, so they tend to use them to like call attention to something I might have missed, like if someone donates or does a subscription and I happen to miss it because something else was going on, or if I was on break. People tend to be sneaky. and the other thing is to take breaks, which I'm normally pretty good at. Like normally just sitting in a computer for an hour, my body will just say, you need to stand up and just like go stretch or something. But very often, especially in games like Minecraft, and more specifically Satisfactory, when I was streaming that, I would get sucked into just one more thing, just one more problem, just on to the next thing. Or this is going really well, I want to keep this momentum going. And like there'd be the highlighted finger wag from Cosmic saying like, you are 10 minutes past your breaks, or like, don't make me cross the pond. And it's good though, because I mean, it keeps it consistent. It allows me to play ads on the stream every hour, but then I'm away from the computer, so people aren't missing anything. So that's good. But yeah, it's the channel points are something that I've not delved into very far. but they seem like a really cool tool for people that have extras like that they want to use, but they don't want to put it behind a paywall. They want to put it behind an engagement wall, right? Which I think is it's a clever thing.
And I think you and I chatted about it on Discord one time, where basically you were looking for things to do with it, but you don't want any, monkey dance moments or things that will change the direction of what you want that you're doing in the stream. And so I struggle with that too. I've got a few different, ridiculous voices that I do, and they don't take anything away from the action that I'm doing, other than I change the point of view to my character looking in the screen saying, "Hey, thanks for using your 2,000 viewpoints on da 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 da," and then I just start talking while I do stuff for the next 2 minutes. So I'm not really. I have a couple of higher point ones where I have to do like an Icarus jump.
Yep.
But people have to save up 15,000 points for that, so that's I don't have enough followers to make that a constant occurrence, right? So it's like maybe once every 3 streams or something.
And you can always change it. Like if something happens where you have like exponential growth, you can just change it to something higher so that it's, again, something that just doesn't happen all the time.
Exactly, yeah. No, they're pretty great though.
Wolf Machina is a streamer that I follow and is someone that has digital voice changers. Like he's got something attached to his mic that will change his voice to other things. And when I was first learning to play Satisfactory, he was one of the streamers I was following because he was playing as well. Really chill guy. He would do these big, long stream days. And one of his channel reward things was he would just press a button. So he didn't have to do anything with his voice. He would just continue on streaming like normal. But he would change one of his voice box buttons to be like robot, wolf, or my favorite was just a slight modulation to make him sound like a woman.
Nice.
And it was unnerving because it sounded authentic. Like it just sounded like you were now watching a female streamer. And even after he finished with it, he was just kind of like, that is so weird, because he can hear it, right?
Okay. Oh,
he's just like, nope. Yeah, he's monitoring in his earbuds, and it's just like, yeah, that would throw me off. I don't know if I could. I know if I could hear, like, hearing the feedback live, I would be just like, nope, sorry, can't do that. But speaking of rewards, I do have a few housekeeping points, I guess, to get out of the way at the top of the show. New month. So first, thank you to all of the patrons that are supporting the Citadel Cafe. It is listener supported, as a lot of you know, and I can't thank you enough to keep the mics going from month to month. And there are a number of changes that I've implemented on the Patreon page, 2 of which are goals. So there are new milestone goals that you can read about at patreon.com/the Citadel Cafe. These are goals we're aiming for to help the show grow. First one is called Backroom Barista. At $50 per episode, we open up the staff room to everyone, and the Barista Cut bonus audio sessions will be available to all patrons. Previous to this, they were only available to the Barista Cut patrons, which is the next tier up. So at tier 1, anybody that's helping support the show gets access to the bonus cut audio. And as of now, we're at that level.
Oh, cool.
So no sooner did I add that, it was actually met as the month rolled over to March. So everyone that has a patron account with the Citadel Cafe, you should be able to access all of the Barista Cut audio from the archive. So you can search through the Patreon posts. You can also just subscribe to the patron only RSS feed and look for the Barista Cuts. They're usually labeled the same as a show number. So like if, for example, there was a Barista Cut to episode 434, it would just be called 434 Barista Cut with Steven. We don't have one this week, but like that's what it would be called had we done one. The second goal that I've added is called Employee of the Month, and that is at $100 per episode. And that will be that the Barista Cut bonus audio sessions will be scheduled to a minimum of 1 session per month. Right now, they happen whenever my guests happen to have time. That's not a guarantee. All of my guests have kids, and sometimes I'm recording during the workday with them, so the time is sometimes finite. But I will commit to getting at least 1 done per month if we can hit that goal. That may include just me doing one on my own if people don't have time. And I'm cool with that. So those are the goals right now. There are some other goals in the works, but because we are still on our way to the $100 per episode, I'm going to leave the other ones under wraps until we get there. I also like to maybe work through them a little bit, maybe bounce them off the community in the Discord. There have been some perk adjustments. The cafe community members now, as mentioned, of course, above, have access to the Barista to Cut audio sessions. That is also an automatic reward redeem, so you don't have to do anything. It should just click over. Barista level support now comes with a name tag and a thank you credit on the citadelcafe.com. So upping a little bit of the perks that you get at the barista level. Everything is implemented now. The website has been updated and the show notes have been redesigned slightly. And every week you will see just above the Internet Minute section, all of our patrons that have a tier with a website credit will be listed with a thank you in a box just above the Internet Minute. So that's all done. That's all live. And again, thank you very much for everyone that is supporting the show. It's the way that this is made. It's the way that it's possible. And I can't thank you enough.
Nice. Congratulations on hitting the 50 per episode. That's excellent.
Thanks. We might have hit it once a long time ago, maybe during the Game of Thrones coverage eons and eons ago, but we've been pretty steady since then. But we've seen a lot of growth, actually. We're a small show compared to some of the other projects that I've had, but that's fine. It's a passion project, and it's nice to be able to fold it into my professional work. But it's cool to see it grow after a while, such a long time. We've also seen an uptick in the last 6 months in email. I had a lot of email. We've always been just like a listening show for a lot of people, but I really like the emails because it gives us a chance to either talk about something that we talked about 200 episodes ago, or, just cover some things that in quick bullet points, like last week, for example, recommending stuff on Netflix, not really having to dive in and talk about every show, just like, here are the bullet points of the stuff that I would, look for. But yeah, that's really what I've been doing this week. I mean, it's tax season. So like, as a small business owner, I've been up to my ear holes in tax stuff. But what have you been doing the last little while?
Busy with freelance work and streaming, but then I guess in my free time, I've been doing a lot of rewatching of old things. I think a lot of it's because my sons are now of age where they're able to enjoy shows that my wife and I watched, I guess, ages ago. We're watching Avatar: The Last Airbender again, but it's like every once in a while we just kind of go, it's been a while, and then we just work our way through all 3 seasons of that. So we're doing that right now. But we're doing Stranger Things and kind of trying to get ourselves up to speed before season 4. We're watching the old Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies because I realized I hadn't seen them all yet. I've only seen the Tobey Maguire 1 and 2, so we just watched 3 recently, and we're going to watch the Andrew Garfield one soon to sort of try to work our way up through all the Spider-Man movies so we can watch the latest one. And not that my sons are watching it, but my wife and I are finally, I think I mentioned it last time, working our way through Game of Thrones now. So we just started season 4 of that, and it's still an excellent, excellent show. Thankfully, the library has the seasons, and we just watched the episode. Spoiler alert, everyone, if you haven't seen it from ages ago. King Joffrey was just killed, and it's about flipping time.
Oh yeah, that was intense.
Yeah, that was actually a really good death. I was like, sometimes people die, and it's just they do the and then close their eyes, and they're just gone. But he was clearly poisoned, and it looked as much as I disliked the Joffrey character, that actor just nailed that scene. Like, it was not pleasant looking at all.
I mean, Joffrey is an asshole, but he's also young. And to watch someone that young die choking is hard, regardless of like who they are. And I find that the Game of Thrones does that with the deaths when they happen.
Yeah.
Like nothing feels like, oh, that was kind of fake. It always has a lot of weight to it. Even when it's some inconsequential character, you're just kind of like, oh, woof, wow, okay, remind me, don't die like that, thanks. So and
here's the episode
note.
Budget: 50% for deaths, 50% for everything else.
Yeah. And I think that they do such a good job these days too, with like the combination of like, and this is not just Game of Thrones, it's every show now, with like special effects that happen like practically, whether it's blood or mud or, whatever's happening with actors, makeup, and then there's CG stuff. Because now they can do stuff where like they can, you can lose a limb and you don't necessarily have to be wearing some fake plastic thing that is going to stand out immediately on a 4K resolution stream, and people are going like, well, that's a fake arm. It's more like you could just walk around that particular scene with like a green screen glove on,
Yep.
like for the rest of it, and they could totally just do it in post. And it's expensive, but man, it's really convincing when that kind of stuff happens. And I find that because of that, I know it's all fake movie stuff, actors aren't really losing arms, but because it's a lot less fake in the last like 5 to 7 years, I find it irks me more. Like, and it gets, not in the way that I don't want to watch, but in the way that it really impacts me. Where you're just like, oh, geez, like I cringe when stuff like that happens on shows.
I find myself looking away at moments when I wouldn't have done that, or maybe just because I'm getting older and it's just not my taste anymore. But I think the realism of it, as you say, it's just so there now that you can't. It looks like somebody just literally died horribly in front of you, and it's not like there's no cartooniness to it anymore. It's very real looking.
I have a recommendation. Once you've finished your rewatch of Stranger Things, the podcast that I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum, he recently interviewed Gaten Matarazzo, who plays Dustin.
Oh, nice. He's a fun actor. I've heard him a couple times in interviews, and he's like just super excited to be doing what he's doing and just exudes that. He's just so nice to listen to. He's
a delightful kid. I say kid, he's probably 20 now, but like to me, he's a kid. He's a delightful human being, and you can feel the joy that he has in doing what he's doing. You hear about how he started doing like a Broadway tour of Les Mis at like age 9 or something bananas. You hear about backstage stuff, but there's no drama. There's no like tabloid stuff, like, because sometimes Michael Rosenbaum likes to poke the bear and try to, actors want to talk about some like crazy stuff that's happened on set or problems and whatever. And one, Rosenbaum doesn't go down that road. But two, it's just all fun. Like he's just, Gaten is just a fun guy, and he's really engaged. And it's a weird interview because they had to do it like with COVID. They had to he's on his laptop, I think, in his bedroom. So like you're kind of looking up his nose for half the interview. So listen to it. It's less distracting if you listen to it as opposed to watch it. I had it on YouTube when I was doing the dishes. But if you're a fan of Stranger Things, if you're a fan of Matarazzo and his work, then absolutely check it out. It's worth the, I don't know, I think it was close to 90 minutes that he sat down and talked with them. It's good.
Yeah, no, like we're in season 2 right now, and it's just Dustin sort of coming into his own. He's more with Steve Harrington at this point in season 2. And their dynamic together, actually, I really like that. And I hope there's more Dustin and Steve in the future. I think because they're together again in season 3, but I think they just, whatever it is, their timing and delivery and give and take off each other is fantastic.
I think it's probably just a combination of like two actors that really know what they're doing, two actors that enjoy one another's company, and then really good writing. I thought the writing for that, because what I liked about the Dustin and what's
Steve
the guy's
the
name?
Hair Harrington. That's how I remember.
Steve, right. So I like how it's disarming Steve. Like Steve is no longer like the unapproachable jock cool guy. Like he's in this with a bunch of nerds, and he's just trying to be the older kid and make sure no one gets hurt. And then there's this younger kid that's asking about like you've seen Stranger Things all the way through, right?
I have, yeah. So we're rewatching the first 3 seasons with my son now. So that
right. I just didn't want to spoil anything. But like when they're on the train tracks talking about hair, and he's like, "How do you get your hair to do that?" And he explains how to get like the 80s blowout sort of deal. And because Dustin's got like super curly hair, and it's a great moment. Like it's just this really cool. It's the kind of thing, and especially like in the 80s, that's not necessarily a thing that guys would be sharing with one another.
And then when he reveals, he uses, I think, what was it, the 2 pumps of the Farrah Fawcett
hairspray or something like that. Yeah, it's a hairspray marketed at women in the 80s.
And he's like, "And tell anybody, I'll kill you." But seriously, 2 pumps. So it's like, "I'll kill you if you tell anyone, but don't go overboard."
Well, moving on into what we have been watching this week, I am pleased to say that I have not only found something on Netflix to watch, but it is a season of things, and it is also very good. And I'm happy to not have much to really complain about it. I'm watching Vikings Valhalla. I'm not sure if you've heard of this or if you've managed to jump in yourself. We'll have links in the show notes, of course, to everything. I will not be spoiling anything because I've only seen the first 4 episodes, and there are some cool things that happen. Not necessarily plot spoilers, just like cool moments that are way more fun if you don't see them coming. So I won't go into those details, but it is set 100 years after the events of Vikings, the first series on the History Channel. So it's set in 1066 in England. The English have sparked conflict under the order of King Althered. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. The second, who ordered the massacre of all Danish settlers on English soil on St. Brice's Day, which is like a Danish holiday. So everybody's around celebrating and feasting, and the English come in and just kill everybody. This is the first 5 minutes of the show, by the way. This is not a spoiler. This is like the whole setup. Women, children, everybody. And so the premise of the show is the Viking revenge. King Canute rallies the various Viking houses for retribution, but the Vikings are fighting amongst themselves with conflicting Christian and pagan beliefs. So some of the Vikings are now Christian, and they don't want to fight alongside the pagans. Sometimes they want to kill the pagans. There's all kinds of inner strife and problems. I'm really, really liking it. I've watched the first 4 episodes. There are 8, but I'm pacing myself. So I'll end up finishing this weekend sometime. But I'm really enjoying it. They're 45 minutes long, give or take.
Will you go through and watch the other 4 this weekend, or are you going to pace it even more than that?
One a day.
Okay.
So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So yeah, like it's kind of like my dinner entertainment or after dinner entertainment.
So your current thing to watch when you want something these days.
Yeah, when I want to sit down for like phone down on the couch, like no distractions. I think to the point where like I'm not even watching over dinner. Well, one, it's violent.
So you want to keep the meal down.
Yeah, you're not going to be having spaghetti and watching the show. TVMA for people that have small humans around and stuff like that. But and I'll get into that a little bit later. But it's a war show. It's about Vikings in medieval times essentially. Very strong high production value as far as I'm concerned. Have you started it? Have you got into it?
I did, yeah. No, I was as I mentioned, I've been busy, so I didn't really have anything I'd been watching, and I took your recommendation on it. So I've seen the first 2 episodes, and yeah, and even in those 2 episodes, they cover a lot of. It feels like they've covered a lot of story already, and it's. I agree with you 100%. The production value is top notch. It's quite good.
Oh, I hope that someone gets nominated for whatever award that this Netflix show would qualify for costume design.
Oh my goodness, yeah, good call.
I'm not a history buff. I'm not a history nerd. I know some people that are, and I'm assuming even though this is all, historical fiction, they wanted to probably stick with like the armor and attire and, the battle techniques and stuff like that and try to stick to it as close as they could. And man, it's between the action and the immersion. I definitely find it kind of edge of your chair stuff. And you're right. They do cover an awful lot in the first 2 episodes. It does start to slow down as you follow the main characters. And it doesn't surprise me that the pace is so good because the showrunner and writer is Jeb Stewart, Die Hard and The Fugitive. Ring a bell?
Oh, right. Yeah.
And obviously it's a spin-off from the original Viking show, but that has 6 seasons, and I'm happy to say that you don't have to know what happened in those 6 seasons. This is going to depict, according to the Wikipedia, the end of the Viking era, as basically Christianity kind of sweeps over Europe. And this is kind of like the last big sort of battle. And so as you follow the main characters from the kickoff point where things are moving so quickly, it starts to slow down as you're following the main folks. The wiki says that there are 3 seasons planned. I hope that's true. And I hope that's all that's planned. Like, I hope they can keep it concise. I would imagine this is probably a pretty demanding job for the actors involved. And I can only imagine how costly it is because, like, you're talking about crowds of people in fight scenes. Like, to be COVID safe during production, like, I'd imagine everybody had to be tested like all the time. especially with all the screaming and shouting and like close combat and stuff.
Yeah. There's no way you're not getting someone's spittle on your face in this show.
No, exactly. And actually, that brings up a good point. It's not all just screaming and running at each other, which surprised me. And I won't get into details because I feel like that would spoil some fun stuff. But the way that the Vikings do their warfare, specifically how Greenlanders are bringing their knowledge to the Vikings, which is where one of the main characters is from.
Mm-hmm.
And it really changes the pace of what is normally like, if you think about movies like Braveheart, where like everybody lines up on one side and everybody lines up on the other, and then there's like 10 minutes of them shouting at one another before they run at one another, and then it's just this great big clash in the middle, and it's all mayhem, right? This has a little bit more order and strategy and stuff to it, because the Vikings are trying to like sack England, like they're mad.
Yeah.
and it's got some real stakes to it, which is cool. The actors that I've been mentioning, I really like. Sam Corlett plays Leif Erikson, son of Eric the Red. He's one of the main Greenlanders. Leo Suter, I hope I'm pronouncing that last name right, is Harold Sigurdsson, and Frida Gustafsson is Freydis, Eric's daughter, and that is Leif's sister. And Bradley Freegard plays King Canute, who I mentioned a few minutes ago. All of them are charismatic, intense when they need to be. Like when they need to be mid-battle, or when they need to be pensive, or when they need to be specifically Frida. Again, no spoilers, but like women in the women characters in this are super strong. They all fight alongside the Viking men. There's no women in the English ranks, but all of the Viking ranks have got a mix of men and women. And when Freydis gets into it, like she's a beast.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I wouldn't want to mess with her at all. And for good reason. She's got some reasons why, like what her motivation is. But something that I noticed immediately about Frida Gustafsson, who plays her, they were saying goodbyes on a dock. I'm just like, she's really tall, or that guy is like 5 foot nothing. And then I looked it up.
Probably a combination of the two.
No, she's 6 feet tall. She's a model. But she's actually 6 feet tall, which you don't see a lot in television shows, women that are that tall. And when a man is 6 feet tall as an actor, they usually tower above a lot of the other people on set. But she was just like taller than everybody. I was like, is she standing on a box? What's going on? Because you don't often see her from head to toe, and this just happened to be that like those waist up shots of her hugging her friends. And I was just like, oh my gosh, she's a monster.
I just looked it up, and Sam Corlett, who plays her brother, is actually he's just over 6 feet tall as well. So it's wow. And
that's something I liked about it, is that I had to look up everybody. There's no North American star power. European series fans may recognize people that I don't. For example, Frida was in The Witcher. I don't remember who she was. Maybe she was a monster. I don't know. I have no idea who she was. Like one episode in season 1, I think. So like I no clue as to who she actually played. I think the credit was just M-A.
Yeah.
So I have no idea. But that's the thing. Like, so I don't know anybody, and that's great for this kind of show, because I'm not bringing any kind of baggage from another show as a fan of an actor to it.
Yeah, the only two actors that I recognized, and it's not that I knew them very well, but there's Sam Corlett. He actually played a character. What was his name in Sabrina the Teenage Witch? It's
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. Oh, Caliban. Yeah, he was kind of played this smarmy, kind of bit of a jerk character, just kind of there. Always had his shirt off, so he was kind of there as the smarmy eye candy guy, and he wasn't a bad actor. The character had like zero depth to him, and it was kind of annoying when he was around. So that's the only other thing that I've seen him in, but he's excellent as Leif Erikson in this. He's quite, I wouldn't even say that he's charismatic necessarily. He doesn't really speak a whole lot, but when he speaks, it's with intent, and he doesn't instigate anything. But when stuff starts to happen around him, he's really cool to watch. I'm trying to choose words to say here that doesn't give anything away, but he's
right.
He's when he defends himself, he's a delight to watch. I'll just leave it at that.
And that's the thing that I did sort of question as a non-historian. I don't know. Like most of the fighting that you see is pretty traditional: swords, axes, shields, shield wall, like that kind of normal stuff. But what Leif Erikson does specifically with like close quarter combat and things
Mm-hmm.
like that, it happens so fast. It almost feels like modern martial arts. When obviously they wouldn't do that, but I wonder how authentic that is to like different fighting stuff, or if they're just trying to convey he's from someplace different. His dad is Eric the Red, so he knows his stuff.
Yeah.
And so he knows how to defend himself. And what I like so much about it is they give you that glimpse to reinforce his confidence. He's calm, but he's there for a reason, and
Mm-hmm.
he's not going to be told no. And there's lots of people that are just kind of like, I like your coat, I'm going to steal it now. And you're like, no, you're not. This is episode 1
Yeah.
again. And it's kind of like, and you're looking at the two of them, you're just like, okay, this big guy's got a sword. He's twice this guy's size, and obviously very aggressive. And he just has that like calm kind of like, this is not going to happen. But then when he actually does get into a scuffle with him, you're like, oh, okay. And he's not he's a tall guy, but he's not an overly big guy. He's more of a tactical
Yeah.
fighter. Everybody's got soft spots sort of deal. And I really like that about how they're not all typecast. Like not every Viking in the show is a brute.
No.
They've got both physical and emotional soft spots, like whether it's Leif and his sister being close, and obviously he wants good things for her, but also doesn't want to hold her back. Like he's not trying to protect her; she can protect herself. It's
Mm-hmm.
so there's these cool relationships that are very different to see in a show like this, which I thought was pretty good. Another strong female character is the Queen of England. Have you met her yet? I don't remember
Yes.
when she
She's
came in.
in episode 2.
Okay, so it gets better, but and this isn't a spoiler because it happens, I think, in the first episode. But the king is sick when you meet him, and he has a son, and the king dies, and quickly it becomes this boy king situation in England. So you've got this raiding Viking army coming in, boy king that has no experience, but wants to quickly, and then the widow queen, the king, soon to be king's mother, having this really cool kind of like tactical role where she kind of has to be a steward in the interim and kind
Mm.
of like give the orders, or she's not just again some damsel on the sidelines. Like she's originally from the north. She's from
Normandy.
Normandy?
Yeah.
So she knows kind of like Viking ways, and she's anticipating what they're going to do, trying to warn people. Like, you don't understand the fire that you've lit, by killing all these Danish people here on English soil.
Mm.
And I really liked her presence as well. Laura Berlin is the actor that plays her.
Originally, I thought that she was playing Edmund's mother, and I thought, wow, she's just almost looks like she's the same age. But thankfully, she's actually his stepmom, so she's not actually his mother.
Right. I said mother, didn't I? I meant to say stepmom.
For my own sake, when I had to look up her character, I'm like, please tell me that's not supposed to be her mother, because sometimes they have somebody cast perfectly, and another time they're like, oh hey mom, and you're like, really? You're maybe a year and a half older than the person you're calling mom.
Yeah.
So when I found out that she was actually his stepmother, I'm like, I was able to go, okay, I'm able to, no need to suspend disbelief. We're still good to go.
Everybody is roughly the same age-ish as far as the main characters, which makes
Mm,
sense because people in 1066 are not living super, super long.
yeah.
Especially if they're on the battlefield all the time. Because just, you'd end up dying of injury and all kinds of complications. The one little kind of like tweak that I'll say is that I feel like a few of the lead actors are a bit too good looking to be battle hardened Vikings.
Whatever do
I
you
mean,
mean?
you can muddy them up all you want, but like Leo Suter is a very attractive man.
Oh yeah.
And you're just kind of like, okay, wait a minute. Like, this guy is a hardcore Viking. Like, how does he still have all his teeth? And I mean, I get it. Like, they're actors, and you have to have like, there's the actors that are in the leading roles are more than likely going to be more experienced and probably more well-known actors. And in these days, that usually means that they're, especially at this age, they're going to be attractive people. And that's not to say that like everybody is like clean cut and like GQ looking, but like anybody that has a speaking role, it is unbelievable how white their teeth are compared to everyone else. Right. And it's fine. Like it takes me out of it for a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Only be just like, oh, okay, right. Okay. That's why. It's like, why does she look so pretty, even though she's completely muddied up and chopping at people? It's like, oh, because she's got lines. It's like, I get it. You know, so that kind of stuff is easy to spot, but easy to forgive as well.
The thing that always throws me off, and I apologize if I have mentioned this on your podcast before, but women's eyebrows drives me crazy that women in medieval times, and I guess ultimately I should look this up to find out the historic accuracy of it, and I shouldn't just pin it on just women, but like shaped eyebrows when people are like in Game of Thrones, when somebody is a wildling and they've clearly been living in like these tents or like in the woods for the better part of their lives, and they come and they have perfectly manicured eyebrows, or like it just blows my mind. And so these Vikings, you know, they're dirty and they're pretty and stuff like that. I can kind of let that go sometimes, but when they come and their eyebrows, like who's picking their eyebrows? Like, like it's for me, it's like the white teeth. I kind of, maybe just because I've seen the white teeth on the actor so often, but for whatever reason, just the eyebrows throw me off every single time.
Yeah, I mean, you can expect it with something like, you know, the Queen of England. Sure, like
Yes.
that would make sense. But I agree. I did also find it funny because so many of the Vikings have, I think most of the men, if not all of them, have some sort of beard. Often epic. Like
there's a couple ones, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, a couple have some epic beards. Bradley Freegard, the King Canute. I don't know if it looks like it's real. It might not be, but even if it isn't, it still looks remarkable. But Sam Corlett, poor dude. I got a funny feeling that it's his, and he's trying, but it's not going quite for him, especially standing next to all of these other guys that are just like these great big goatee,
they're both their beards are so significant. They should have a credit in the show. And he's probably trying because his dad is Eric the Red, which probably had this amazing beard.
I would think so. But I mean, then again, like, I don't know, like if he's, I mean, he doesn't look like he's a ginger necessarily. Like he doesn't look like he has red hair, but I don't know. He definitely has a fairer construction. Like a lot of the other men in the show have got like chiseled jaws and like very pronounced cheekbones and eyebrows and brows in general. Like everybody's very sturdy looking. But Leif Erikson looks swift.
That's a good word for it.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying he looks different. Like he reminds me, like, because when I see an image of Sam Corlett, like when I looked up the actor before the show, like he reminds me of someone that you'd see surfing in California. Like that's that's the kind of guy that he looks like. Little soul patch goatee, whereas like everybody else has got these giant, beards where you can't see their mouths, like that kind of stuff. And in particular, one of his, I don't remember the character's name, but it's one of his buddies from Greenland. He's got a party of about 6 people, Leif Erikson and his sister and a couple of others. And their names are all hard to pronounce. I don't remember them, but he's the tall, like strawberry blonde guy. And he's got a massive beard. Like it goes past his shirt collar. Yeah. And like you can't even see his face. If I knew him from some other show, I wouldn't be able to recognize him unless he had a beard in that too, because like he's completely lion mane everywhere. And he has like a fur brimmed hat. Like he looks like Santa Claus, like an angry Santa Claus. But I'm enjoying it. I highly recommend it to people. I don't have a lot to say about it because again, I don't want to ruin the first few episodes for people, but I think that it's going to be worth the 8 episodes. And if you like this kind of thing, I will leave you with, again, it is violent. And you brought this up with Game of Thrones. They do some pretty violent stuff, but what bewilders me is that they're doing it on throwaway characters. So it feels gratuitous. And we've talked about this a few times on the show in the last couple of months. And that's where I'm just like, well, I don't need to see that particular limb being chopped or like, that kind of death when this character doesn't matter.
Inconsequential, yeah.
Yeah, if something's going to die, if someone's going to die horribly and you want it to feel and be memorable, have it be one of the speaking characters that dies in battle. Have them die in a very memorable way. Have all the extras just get shot with arrows and fall over. Like, who cares? So that kind of stuff is, it does feel like, wait, stop. We've got violence to show you. And it's like, but I don't know who these people are, nor do I care. I guess the communication is just to kind of show you, like, this is supposed to be a bloody event. It's like, well, yeah, I got that with all the swords and axes going around, Moving into the Internet Minute, which is, of course, brought to you by you, dear listener. The Citadel Cafe is 100% listener supported. If you're getting value out of the show, please consider putting a little bit of value back in. You can become a member at patreon.com/the Citadel Cafe. Joining at any level will get you an invite to the member-only Discord server. And as of right now, you'll also get access to the Baristacut bonus audio sessions. We are down 2 patrons from last week, but I'm not too worried about it because that's usually the thing that happens as the months roll over and Patreon does its whole charge thing. Some people adjust their budgets, all that kind of stuff. We're at 24 patrons. Love to make that 25 by next week. So if you're looking to join, you can visit patreon.com/the Citadel Cafe. We will be in the Discord waiting for you. And this is something that I specifically picked out for you, Stephen. This is a new Lego set 10298. It is the Lego Vespa.
I just saw the link. I'm going there right now.
1,106 pieces, retails for $130 Canadian. Hurt my heart.
Oof.
This collectible display model is 8.5 inches by 13.5 inches by 4.5 inches. So it is not small. We have fancy bookshelf model. Great design, very sleek. Feels like a Vespa, but still looks like Lego.
Oh my goodness.
I think it's awesome. The price tag hurts my heart.
That's beautiful. Yeah, no, as soon as I heard you say that, I went, As you were talking, I was going through the whole, yes, accept all cookies, yes, this and that. And then as soon as you said the price, it showed up. Oh, it's too bad.
But it is a really cool looking model.
Yeah.
And it comes with like a couple of cool little accessories too. It's like got a flower basket that you put on the back of it. It's got a helmet that you can stick on the back, and the helmet has goggles, which I thought was really cool. What surprised me on the first image was that they have that little like Lego separator tool in the image.
Yeah.
And I know how big those are because I have a couple. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, wait a minute. This thing is big. Like it's a foot long. It's more than a foot long.
That's beautiful.
It's baby blue as well, which I think is the selling point. The only other color that I would want would be like red with like a white stripe on it somewhere.
Yeah, my dream one, I don't know if I mentioned it on stream before or on a podcast before or not, but it's a 1952 Vespa Allstate. And this isn't quite that, but it's got the round headlight. It's got a very classic look to it, which is, and the color that I want, it would be baby blue and white. So baby blue on either side with a white stripe that goes down the front, middle, and all the way to the back would be cool. That is pretty.
There's even a compartment you can take off the side and look at like the engine pieces. Like they've got the internal engine put together, stuff like that, which is really cool. And kickstand, so it stands up on its own, which is nice. Something I wish that the Lego Star Wars ships came with was either a stand that you could put the ship on or a buildable stand that you would have to construct yourself and then stick the ship on. Because when it's something like a Y-wing, like just sitting on the flat surface, it doesn't always look the best.
Yeah.
I've got mine on top of a bookshelf, so it would be better to have it up a little bit higher where you can see more of it. But anyway, yeah, this is on my short wish list. Not very many things like this. I'm not a big car guy, but once upon a time I did almost buy a scooter. And I also really like the Volkswagen bus model. We featured that here on the show before as well from Lego. But this is up there with that. Like, it's the kind of thing that's just a classic piece of design that you could put on any shelf and people just wouldn't question it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. They wouldn't go, oh, really? Displaying Lego? Because this is just such a cool one.
Well, that wraps up this episode of the Citadel Cafe. You can get more information about the show and links to some of the things that Stephen and I talked about at thecitadelcafe.com. Music for the show was composed by Kevin MacLeod, and you can email us at thecitadelcafe@gmail.com. Find the show by name on Twitter. Subscribe for free on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, even YouTube. Word of mouth is the easiest way to support the show. Just tell friends about the Citadel Cafe and where they can go to listen to it. My name is Joel Duggan. You can find everything I am doing online at joelduggan.com. That includes my illustration and design portfolio. You can check out my other podcast all about Minecraft at thespawnchunks.com. Will we get a snapshot this week? I don't know. You'll have to tune in and find out. And of course, follow me at Joel Duggan on social media, and I'll point you towards twitch.tv/Joel Duggan, where I'm streaming all of Fabric 5 on Fridays, and of course from the Citadel on the weekends. Stephen, where can people find you online?
Most found easily these days on Twitch at twitch.tv/StephenESE. Again, Stephen with a PH. Thursday evenings and Sunday mornings with a special Minecraft speedrun challenge coming up on the morning of Sunday, March 13th.
You've been listening to the Citadel Cafe, where we are fast, easy, and cheap, but you can only pick two.